Okay, how copy over?
We should be on Zoom. I mean, on YouTube, Your Honor.
We're good. Are we still ready on DeLuna, Mr. Payne, Mr. or Miss Mendoza, and Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, Your Honor, they should be ready.
Anybody else? That's it?
That's it at this point in time, Your Honor.
All right.
We're ready too, Your Honor.
You
Who's
need
that?
the paperwork.
Tanisha Martin, we just turned in our plea paperwork, Your Honor.
Okay, well, I don't have it yet. We'll have to wait on that one, but we'll do that next pass. Thanks.
Very good. 2 minutes
All
ago.
right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bexar County Court at Law number 6 in the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court. I'm Judge Wayne Christian, and today is plea day. I have on my docket apparently 3 Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court pleas. 1, a track 1 pretrial diversion plea and probation agreement, cause 673183, State of Texas versus Mario DeLuna, represented by Mr. David Volk. And I guess at this time that turns into Mr. McElroy. Is that correct, Frank? Frank with us?
Well, he's on, Your Honor. I just don't know that he's available now.
Frank McElroy, Earth to Frank, come in. Well, maybe not.
Well, he's signed on, Your Honor.
There he is. Frank, are you with us? Mr. McElroy, are you with us or not? I'll put you off to the next batch if you want.
Judge,
There
no,
he is.
I apologize here. I had my sound off.
No problem. Are you ready to proceed on Mr. DeLuna?
I'm sorry, Your Honor?
Are you ready to proceed on Mr. DeLuna?
Yes, we are.
Fair enough. I also have 2 Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court Track 2 probation agreements, cause number 647794 and 667411, State of Texas versus Joe Payne, represented by Mr. Patrick Lamas. Mr. Lamas, are you ready to proceed?
We are, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next, I have cause 638592, State of Texas versus Javier Gonzalez, represented by Mr. Cornelius Cox. Mr. Cox, are you ready to proceed?
I believe we are, Judge.
Good to go. And I have cause 677711, State of Texas versus Arlet M. Mendoza, represented by Mr. Larry Meadows. Mr. Meadows, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, we are.
Let's start with those. Representing the state in all matters, Mr. Eddie Villarreal and Mr. Arthur Reed. Representing the Bexar County CSCD is Ms. Susan Gross.
Judge, you want me to give my spiel now?
Sure, that'd be a wonderful thing.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This is directed at everyone that is doing a regular plea. It does not apply to the Veterans Treatment Court people. If you currently reside outside of Bexar County or outside the state of Texas, or you intend on moving outside of Bexar County or outside the state of Texas, you need to bring this to the judge's attention before you make your plea. That way he can decide how you will be supervised, whether your case will be transferred or whether you will be reporting via Zoom. Does anyone currently reside outside of Bexar County or Texas or intend on moving? If so, raise your hand. Yes, sir. Mr. Gonzalez, where do you live?
I'm moving to Hidalgo County, Alamo, Texas,
And when do you intend on moving?
at the end of the month.
At the end of the month, okay? All right, Judge, can you make a notation?
Got it.
All right, and anyone else? All right,
Yes, ma'am.
that's all I've got. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
also,
No, Joe Payne.
Mr. Payne, where do you currently live?
Right now I'm in Hammond, Louisiana, but it's possible that I might be moving to Atlanta, Georgia, because I was homeless in San Antonio, so I came out with family out here.
Okay, again, you are with the Veterans Treatment Court, so this does not apply to you. You need to speak to your treatment coordinators, who will be Mr. Childers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought you said anybody that. I'm sorry.
Mr. Payne, we're gonna have to talk to your attorney. This is the news to us. So we were not aware that you were out of state or moving out of state.
Is Mr. Lamas with us today?
Yes, Your
I am,
Honor.
Your Honor.
Why don't you go in a breakout room with Josh and y'all chat about Mr. Payne's situation?
Will do, Your Honor.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, for the rest of you that are placed on probation today, again, this does not apply to the Veterans Treatment Court people. Anyone else placed on probation today? You will be receiving most likely an email or a text from the probation department in order to set up your orientation, okay? If you have not heard from them by the time you wake up next Wednesday morning, there is a phone number in the chat section that you need to call. It is area code 210-335-7446. You need to advise them that you are placed on probation today and that you need to set up your orientation. It is very important that you go through the orientation process. Failure to do so could result in a warrant being issued for your arrest. At orientation, they're going to go over what you can and cannot do while you are on probation. They're going to go over your monies as far as what you're going to be paying and how to pay and how you will be reporting. It is very important that you do that and that you sign your documents, because if you fail to do so, the judge will issue a warrant for your arrest. Does anyone have any questions? All right, good luck, everybody. They're all yours, Judge.
Thank you, Sue. Okay, is there anybody out there ready for a plea at this time other than Mr. DeLuna and Mr. McElroy, Ms. Mendoza and Mr. Meadows, and Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Cox? Anybody else ready at this time that I have paperwork?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'm sending you Miss Martin's paperwork right now.
All right,
That's ours, Your Honor.
let me fetch that and that'll save us some time. Stand by.
Pat, can you put myself and Mr. Payne in breakout room with Mr. Lamas?
Yes, you can go back.
I don't know how to go back with the.
Can you go back?
Okay, it's breakout room 2?
Yeah.
Okay, and Mr. Payne, if you can click on that.
You should see a button that says join.
Don't pay the ransom. I escaped. Okay, batting order is cause number 673-183, State of Texas versus Mario DeLuna, represented by Mr. Frank McElroy. This is a Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial diversion, plea and probation agreement. Cause number 677-711, State of Texas versus Arlet M. Mendoza with Mr. Larry Meadows. Cause number 638-592, State of Texas versus Javier E. Gonzalez, represented by Mr. Cornelius Cox. And cause number 671-400, State of Texas versus Tanisha Yvonne Martin, represented by Mr. Ben Stevenson. Okay, the first document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference that purports to have both the defendant and his or her attorney's signature on it. In fact, Mr. DeLuna, is this your signature on this document in cause 673-183, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. McElroy, as attorney for Mr. DeLuna, this could be either your signature or perhaps your trial partner's signature, Mr. Vogt, you can identify.
Yeah, I don't see what you're doing there, Judge, but I'm sure that it's David Volk's signature.
Fair enough. And in cause number 677-711, Ms. Mendoza, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. And Mr. Meadows, as attorney for Ms. Mendoza, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, it is, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, in cause 638-592, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Cox, as attorney for Mr. Gonzalez, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. In cause 671-400, Ms. Martin, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. And Mr. Stevenson, as attorney for Ms. Martin, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signatures on the back. Effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. DeLuna, in cause 673-183, is this your signature on this document also, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Mendoza, in cause 677-711, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, in cause 638-592, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Martin, in cause 671-400, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. By signing this document, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys, so that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. DeLuna?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Ms. Mendoza?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Ms. Martin?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. McElroy, as attorney for Mr. DeLuna, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Absolutely. We've had enough time, Judge, and in my opinion, he is mentally competent.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Meadows, as attorney for Ms. Mendoza.
Yes, she's competent, Judge.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Cox, as attorney for Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Stevenson, as attorney for Ms. Martin.
Yes to both, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. DeLuna, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Mendoza, same question, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, same question, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Martin, same question, ma'am.
Yes, sir. U.S. citizen.
Thank you. Mr. McElroy, as attorney for Mr. DeLuna, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
I believe we've received everything, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Meadows, same question for you and your representation of Ms. Mendoza.
Yes, they provided all the discovery.
Thank you. Mr. Cox, same question for you and your representation of Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Your Honor. They have.
Thank you. Mr. Stevenson, same question for you and your representation of Ms. Martin.
Yes, we received everything we were entitled to.
Fair enough. Okay, let's see what we're doing on Mr. DeLuna. This is the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court Track 1 pretrial diversion plea and probation agreement. And Mr. DeLuna, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Court accepts the plea of guilty, hold it in abeyance, places you on 1 year, Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial diversion probation, assessing a $1,000 all-inclusive Veterans Treatment Court fee 48 hours of community service, probating all that based on your military service. DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, 6 months Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day, which is half the term. Outpatient drug treatment with either the Veterans Administration or another designated VTC provider. And no restitution, we're good. Requiring your successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court issue judge's bond, defendant to be supervised by CSCD and VTC staff. At this time, Mr. DeLuna, I'm looking at a document entitled Track 1 Pretrial Intervention, which is a contract by and between you and your attorney and the Bexar County Criminal District Attorney's Office. Said contract setting out all the requirements and prerequisites of your successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court. In fact, sir, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. McElroy, I assume this is Mr. Voigt's signature on this document. Would that be accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Villarreal is the Assistant Criminal District Attorney assigned to this case. I assume this is your signature on this document.
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
All good. Okay, Mr. DeLuna, what'd you do in the military, sir?
Your Honor, I'm still serving.
Okay.
I report. We do everything that goes in and out of the cargo planes.
Okay. I like C-17s. That's the one that took me to and back from Afghanistan.
That's a Cadillac right now, sir.
All right, that's what I got. What did I miss?
Your Honor, since he's active duty, can we change it to no contest, please?
That's an excellent idea. Mr. McElroy, in lieu of your client entering a plea of guilty, I would request him enter a plea.
Yeah, yes, Judge. I thought that's what he said. I'm having some audio issues over here, but yes,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Court accepts the plea of no contest. Defense to driving while intoxicated. First offense, hold it in abeyance, places Mr. DeLuna on Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court Track 1 pretrial diversion for 1 year. All right. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. DeLuna?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Nothing from the defense, Judge.
All right. Good luck, Mr. DeLuna. And Mr. Mora is going to get in touch with you either today or tomorrow. Josh, do we know when he's going to get in contact with him?
He'll get contacted right after this, sir. So,
all right, fair enough.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And then I'll get you on your way to getting tuned in on all this. Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. McElroy, thanks. You're out of here.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, let's see what else we got. Miss Mendoza, let's see what we're doing with you. State, you got a motion, it would appear.
Yes, Judge. The state moves to waive count 1 of the information and proceed on count 2 alone, which is for obstruction.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted. And when we're doing this, state, you've already actually checked the real information and made sure there are actually 2 paragraphs, because sometimes there aren't.
Yes, Judge. I checked this one and there are 2 paragraphs.
Thanks. Okay, so state's motion to waive paragraph 1, alleging driving while intoxicated, is granted, and proceeding on paragraph 2, alleging obstruction of a highway. Ms. Mendoza, on cause 6777711 to the charge of obstruction of a highway. How do you plead, ma'am?
Plead no contest.
I have no contest, and that will be fine. And is there an agreement for Ms. Mendoza?
Yes, Judge. The agreement is for 12 months deferred adjudication, a $500 fine, plus court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CATSNIP, and Smart Start mobile for half the term.
And Mr. Meadows, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, it is.
Mendoza, on cause 6777711, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. That says a $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, and Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Mendoza?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Nothing from the defense, Judge.
Ms. Mendoza, thank you, Mr. Meadows. Y'all are out of here.
All right, thank you, Judge.
There.
Okay, let's see what we're doing with Mr. Gonzalez. And state, you got another motion for me.
Yes, Judge, here where the state moves to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement as well as the open container enhancement.
No objections.
I imagine not.
Uh,
State's motion to waive both the greater than 0.15 enhancement and the open container enhancement. No objection from the defense is granted. Therefore, Mr. Gonzalez is in charge of driving while intoxicated. First offense, how do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Thank you. You're in agreement from Mr. Gonzalez.
There is, Judge. The agreement is for 13 months deferred adjudication, an $850 fine, 300 of which is probated, court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAT-SNIT, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and $60 to DPS for the labs.
That's correct, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez, call 638-592. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated. First offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 13 months deferred adjudication probation. Excess an $850 fine, probating $300 of that plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel. Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months, and reimbursement to the Texas Department of Public Safety in the amount of $60 for a lab fee. And we're also moving to Alamo, Texas and Hidalgo County. Is Susan still with us or did she bail? All right.
I'm here.
This is how this is going to have to work, Cornelius. If we can, we're going to transfer probation to Hidalgo County for Mr. Gonzalez. And if we can't transfer it for some reason, he'll just be answering by Zoom or whatever other means that you won't have to keep coming back and forth. And we'll just have to let him do his programs by Zoom or by whatever other means necessary or equivalent courses in that area. Will that work for you?
That'll work, Judge.
All right. Is that okay with you, Mr. Gonzalez? Up there, Susan.
Yeah, that case should be transferable to where he can actually be supervised and report to an officer down there.
That would be good. All right. Good luck, Mr. Gonzalez. Thank you, Mr. Cox.
All right.
Out of here.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
And Mr. Stevenson, let's see what we're doing with Miss Martin.
It is a plea to obstructing.
All right.
And I do not know if we have a second paragraph, so we should probably check.
That's the state's job. We're going to make the state do that. State, what are you doing? What are we doing on Miss Martin's case?
Judge, I did check the information. So the state moves to amend the information to include count 2 for obstruction and waive count 1 as well as the greater than 0.15 enhancement.
No objection.
Thank you. No objection from the defense. That will be granted. Okay, so Ms. Martin, to the charge of obstruction of a highway, how do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
And is there an agreement for Ms. Martin?
Yes, Judge. The agreement's for 14 months deferred adjudication, a $600 fine, plus court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAT-SNIT, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and $60 to DPS for the lab.
And Mr. Stevenson, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Ms. Martin, in cause 671-400, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 14 months deferred adjudication probation, and says a $600 fine plus court cost, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months, and $60 reimbursement to the Texas Department of Public Safety for a lab fee. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Martin?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Good luck, Ms. Martin. Thank you, Mr. Stevenson.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
Your Honor, there's one further thing from the defense, please.
Sure.
My client has been actively looking for employment since she lost her job in the wake of this new case. While she would welcome any assistance that probation can provide in helping her with her job search, she is currently very low income. So we would ask the court to reduce her supervisory fees simply because she is going to be saddled with quite a bit of class fees and program fees right now, Your Honor.
Ms.
Just-
Martin,
we don't want her to fail.
automatically set to the lowest statutory amount, which is $25 a month, like every other probationer in this court. Fair enough?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Honor. That's all.
Your Honor,
Yeah.
Mr. White is ready with Ms. Solis's plea.
All right. Anybody else?
May
At
we be
this
excused,
point,
Your Honor?
then I think everybody else has got issues.
Josh, what's going on with Mr. Payne's cases?
Judge, I will let Mr. Lamas explain exactly where we're at on this one.
Go
Your
ahead,
Honor, would be,
Matt.
we're gonna need a 30-day reset. My client still wants to pursue the Veterans Treatment Court. We just have to get some affairs in order, get him back to San Antonio, namely being the biggest one. But he has every intention of doing the Veterans Treatment Court.
Okay. So bottom line is he's going, now he's interested in moving back to San Antonio, did you say?
He was in San Antonio for almost the entire time of this case, Your Honor. It's just recently, 2 weeks ago, he went to Georgia. He wasn't aware that he wasn't supposed to do that, but he has every intention to come back to San Antonio.
All right. Well, here, let me just cut to the chase. What we want is what's in the best interest of Mr. Payne. And that would be where he's got family support or where he's got a job opportunity. And I don't think he has either one of those in San Antonio. Would that be accurate?
He doesn't have any family in San Antonio. That's correct.
Well, you guys get to make your election on what you want to do, and I'll certainly give you time to do it. But it would seem to me like the best case scenario is going to be wherever he can get a decent job and feel comfortable. And if he can't be in San Antonio so that he can participate in the VTC, we have what I call collateral VTC or VTC light, meaning that he still gets credit for being in the military and he gets basically the same deal, except he's not going to be in the Veterans Treatment Court. He'll be in the regular probation, and we'll either be allowing him to answer by mail or Zoom from wherever he is, or we'll transfer the probation over there. And otherwise, it would be exactly the same. He's getting convictions for these cases anyway, so he doesn't really benefit from the VTC other than being around soldiers and people. Would you mind going back in a chat room and chat with him about that right now and see if we can make a decision now? And if we can, I'll give you more time, certainly.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Let's do that.
Chatting.
Payne and Mr. Lamas, go into the chat room and come back when you're ready.
All right, go into room one. Mr. Lamas, I'm gonna move you, and Mr. Payne, go into room one.
And the only paperwork I have left is for Miss Solis and Mr. White. Was that
They're ready.
okay?
Your Honor, pardon me, are we excused? I did
Yes.
not hear the court say we were excused.
I said you're out of here, so you're out of here. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, Ben. It's cause number 642-084, State of Texas versus Heather Solis, represented by Mr. Marshall White. The first document I have in this case is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference that purports to have both Ms. Solis and Mr. White's signature on it. In fact, Ms. Solis, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
You and Mr. White, as attorney for Ms. Solis, is this your signature on this document?
It is, Judge.
Thank you. The next document I have is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. It purports to have Ms. Lee's signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Ms. Lee, is this your signature on this document also, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
You, by signing this document, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorney, Mr. White, so that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Mr. White, as attorney for Ms. Solis, have you had enough time to go over this case with her? And in your opinion, is she mentally competent?
Yes and yes, Judge.
Ms. Solis, are you a United States citizen, ma'am?
Yes, sir, I am.
Mr. White, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
My opinion, they have, Judge.
All good. Let's see what we're doing with Ms. Solis. Okay, we've got an ABI. So, Ms. Solis, in cause number 642-084 to the charge of assault bodily injury, how do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
Thank you. Is there an agreement for Ms. Solis?
Yes, Judge, the agreement is for 15 months deferred adjudication a $450 fine plus court costs, 80 hours of community service, APSE course, and a no contact order with Melanie Nabel.
And Mr. White, who is Miss Knebel, Nabel, I guess, to Miss Solis? Are they
Judge,
related?
I think, I'm sorry, Judge. I think Ms. Solis informed me that she was associated with her baby's daddy in some sort.
Okay, so there's no real reason that Miss Solis and Miss Nabel ever have to see each other or talk to each other during this probation. Would that be correct?
In my opinion, that's correct.
Is that correct, Miss Solis?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, ma'am. And otherwise, that's correct, or the plea bargain is correct, Marshall?
Yes, Judge, it is correct.
All good. Okay, Ms. Solis, in clause 642084, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of assault bodily injury. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 15 months deferred adjudication probation. It says a $450 fine plus court costs, 80 hours community service, the APSE course, and order you to have no contact whatsoever with Melanie Nabel, spelled K as in kilo, N as in November, EBEL. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Solis?
Nothing from the state.
Judge, just with respect to
Ms. Solis, thank you, Mr. White. Y'all are dismissed.
Well, Judge, just 1 minute, Judge, with respect to the discovery, I haven't received the acknowledgement. I'm not sure if that's something that's going to be forthcoming after the fact here or what on this. I mean, I know you put it on the record that whether or not I had to receive discovery, but I have not received the acknowledgement.
Okay, so have you received full discovery from the state or you missed something?
Yeah, I haven't received the discovery acknowledgement documentation.
Okay, I'm not sure what that means. Meaning the state has to say they provided it to you?
Yeah, generally that is how that issue is dealt with. Is the state sends a discovery acknowledgement and that we sign off on that. You haven't been getting that paperwork?
I've only been doing this 43 years. I've never seen one of those. That sounds exciting. State, do you actually do something like that?
Yes, Judge. We did send a discovery acknowledgement today, just a moment ago, right before the plea was entered.
Marshall, is that okay with you? If you didn't get it, just call Eddie and he'll send another one. Would that be okay?
No, I think if he just sent it, then Judge, I mean, my part is all I have to do is sign, and I think the court gets it. But maybe you just hadn't been getting them. I don't know.
Okay, well, if it's okay with you, it's okay with me. Are we good?
We're good, Judge. Okay, Ms. Solis, good luck.
Thanks, Marshall. Y'all are dismissed. Thank you, Ms. Solis. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a bunch of other folks who are somewhere out in the wind. What's going on with the rest of these folks? Tony Hayek and Victoria Hernandez.
Your Honor, I am trying to get a hold of Mr. Hyatt to find out.
I think his mother just passed away, so that may be part of the problem.
Oh, maybe because I didn't realize.
We got Claudine. What's going on with let's see, Michael Rhodes, Claudine?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Yeah, I'm the problem child today. I was able to confer with the state. We're like 90% of the way there. I understood that this was a setting to be on your radar. Apparently it was set for a plea, but there is something that Eddie and I are trying to work out. So I am going to ask for just a little bit more time, but not next week because I'm going on vacation.
Where are we going?
To NASA. My daughter and I are going to Houston and we're going to go to NASA. I love NASA.
All right. Well, I don't think I've received any violation reports on Mr. Rhodes. So whatever he's doing is probably good. Does that make sense?
He's been doing really well, from what he tells me and what he's told Hector.
Would 2 weeks give you enough time to coordinate with the state and see if y'all can work this out?
I believe so. Eddie, do you think that's enough?
I think that'll be fine.
And while we were waiting, I sent you a reminder email just so you would have my contact information.
I saw it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Was Mr. Rhodes here today?
Yes, Your Honor, he was.
Okay.
Okay.
All good. So reach out for 2 weeks and try to have fun. You know how you are, Claudine.
Yeah, you know how I am. I will try my hardest. And if that's an order, Judge, I will have fun. Thank you so much.
That's what orders I've given her over the years. I ordered her in the Pacific Ocean once. I ordered her to go to Disneyland once. In order to stay home once. Do any other?
The order to go to Disneyland stuck so well that we're going in October. So we're gonna go again. We're going back, this time with my whole family. So
All right, have fun.
thank you. May I be excused?
You bet.
Y'all take care. Stay well.
Marshall, Miss Solis is coming back in. I'm not sure why.
Well, she just doesn't have clarity on what she needs to do to start her probation off on the right foot.
Okay, okay.
What is the step, Judge, she needs to take to get this probation off to a good start?
Susan?
Go ahead, Sue.
As I previously stated before, she will be receiving either an email or a text message from the probation department setting up her orientation. If she does not receive that email or text message by the time she wakes up next Wednesday morning, then she needs to call the number that is in the chat, which is 210-335-7446.
Okay, I missed that little briefing you gave before. I missed that. But I've heard it before, but I just didn't recall all of it.
All good.
Ms. Felice, do you understand?
Yes, sir. I got the number.
Okay. Good luck, Ms. Solis. Thank you, Marshall. Y'all are dismissed.
Marshall.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Judge.
Yep. Ron, go ahead.
Okay, so on the two veterans we have for today, Mr. DeLuna and Mr. Payne.
Yeah.
Both have active warrants.
Well, we're going to recall the warrants on Mr. DeLuna because he pled in. Now, with regard to Mr. Payne, why do we have active warrants on him?
I don't know, Judge. I imagine it's because he's out of county without permission. Pre-trial, according to the notes on the computer, pre-trial sent a fourth violation report to you, which you then acted on. So,
okay. Well, let's put that on the back burner for right now. Mr. Lamas, did y'all get any closer to coming up with a plan?
I think so, Your Honor. I just wanted to verify. Whenever you say VTC light, would it be the same terms as coming in?
Basically, he's not technically a member of the Veterans Treatment Court, but the state still gives him credit for being an American veteran. And so they give him a better sweetheart deal than they would give a normal person outside the VTC. So he would just be on regular probation or deferred, depending on what y'all work out, outside the VTC.
I mean, if it was still the same terms, Mr. Payne would rather.
He still gets, his probation, his community service hours probated because he was a veteran, and any other, issues. We certainly try to reward him for what he did. What did you do in the military, Mr. Payne? I didn't get that.
Your Honor, I served twice in Afghanistan. I was a 92 Yankee, which is supply and logistics, and I was a cook as well in the 21 Whiskey, which is masonry carpentry.
What year I went to Afghanistan, sir?
I went for 2010 to 2011, and then I went in 2013, but they had to send me back because my mental health was pretty bad from PTSD.
Well, I was there in 2003 after all the Green Berets ran them all out of the country, and so hardly anybody shot at us, and then they all came back, and then you got to go over a couple of times. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
I remember you were there, weren't they?
Yeah, we actually got we were covered. We were because I was with Fort Campbell, 101st Airborne. We were actually on the Discovery Channel for our fight on November 1st, 2010. We was in a firefight for about 3.5 hours long.
Did you get to fire your shot in anger, sir?
Yes, sir. I was a saw gunner.
All right. I like the way you think. Okay. Josh, do y'all want to go back and chat some more or just, work out any details and see if we can do this today, or do you want?
If I would have to defer this to Eddie if he's willing to allow him to have the same plea agreement outside the VTC. Mr. Payne would have to be here before we could plea him in to the VTC, which he's currently out of state. So I'll have to defer to Eddie.
Well, that's not really true. Well, I mean, we're not doing the thumbprint identification because of Zoom. Why can't we plead him in out of state? We pled other people in from out of state.
Sir, if you would like to speak to that off record, sir, I'd be happy to.
Okay, I mean, it wouldn't be into the VTC. It would be outside the VTC on regular probation, correct?
That is correct. If he's going outside the VTC, that would be up to Eddie if he can plead with the same.
Okay, we're not making people come back from Louisiana to plead. So, I mean, we can still do pleas on Zoom.
Yeah.
Understand, sir, but for the VTC, he has to be a resident
I know, but he's not eligible for VTC because he doesn't live in San Antonio.
I understand. That's all I'm saying, sir.
Yeah, okay, I got you. All right, so Eddie, would you like to go chat with Mr. Lamas to see if you can work out the details? Maybe we can do this today, and if not, we'll certainly give Mr. Lamas and Mr. Payne more time.
You're on mute, Mr. Villarreal.
You're muted.
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties with my Zoom. But yes, we can go back into a breakout room and work something out. I'm not sure if y'all can hear me.
Yeah,
we hear you.
Okay, yeah, I'm having trouble with my Zoom. I have to like log back in and.
Okay, Mr. Lamas, if you go back into one, and Eddie, you should be able to go back into one.
Or can you send Arthur, please? I have my screen.
Okay, let me send Arthur
Okay.
into one. And if he goes in, then y'all should be able to do it then. I'm gonna